The simple things to do are simple not to do. It's not because they're not simple. It's because you need to do them consistently. Like, for example, say thank you takes 0.1 seconds and it has the most impact on anything in your life. But most people will forget to say thank you by tonight, by tomorrow morning. Another half of us, within 3 days, almost all of us, even though it takes 0.1 seconds, and it's free, by the way, Mitzi, it's free.
Yeah.
And yet people will forget. So what I try to do is to allow people to understand the past and align the meaning of the successes, failures, mistakes, void shortages, obstacles, defining moments, historical relevances even of our past, align the meaning of those to where you want to be or better. And now we can enjoy the pursuit of where we want to be or better, because enjoyment comes from pursuing. It doesn't come from reaching our outcomes.
Great title for a podcast, Blessings.
Thank you. Yes, I love it.
What a great meditation.
We are here to learn in the spirit of life.
I'm all about believe. You're about spreading blessings. It's great.
What about your blessings? What's the biggest blessing of life?
What a great question.
Because it's the Blessings podcast, I have to ask you, what is your biggest lesson in life?
My biggest lesson in life.
A whole lot of conversations with people about life and how those things manifest as blessings and lessons, and sometimes both.
It's my connection.
You're going to get schooled.
The journey is the journey.
What you and me are searching for are the blessings in this life.
Remember the reality of how sweet people are.
Spread blessings around the world.
You are the most remarkable energy. You make me pause, make me excited, make me think, and make me spontaneously come up with an answer. This is another one of those great moments in time in my life. Thank you for reaching out to ask if I would do the show.
Welcome back to Blessings, my friends. Today, we are blessed to have with us the king of blending business with spirituality, Mr. David Meltzer. David is the chairman of the Napoleon Hill Institute and formerly served as the CEO of the renowned Leigh Steinberg Sports and Entertainment Agency, made famous by the movie Jerry Maguire. He went from millionaire to bankrupt to millionaire again, and his mission is to help a billion with a B people make a lot of money and have a lot of fun. And I have seen him break dance in person, so I know he knows how to have fun. Welcome, David. So nice to see you again.
It's so great to see you. And yes, it's over a billion people, because I don't want to limit myself. And it's a major lesson of mine that so many people, they limit themselves with not only their self-image, but also their meaning. And so I'm very critical when it comes to helping other people not limit their own self-image and align their meaning with where they want to be or better. We will work within that context. And yes, I love to have a lot of fun along with making things better.
Okay, so you already answered my first question, the biggest problem to solve. You just told us it's limitation.
Yes, it is. And so many people understand the circumstances in their own perceptive way, meaning that when we can extract out the circumstances of the day, which are uncertain, and place a temporal response, which means time, to the reaction to circumstances. And so the best way to do that within the context of meaning is to have non-negotiable behavior that says, no matter what happens today, I'm going to spend this amount of time on my sleep. I'm going to spend this amount of time on my health. I'm going to spend this amount of time on my finance. I'm going to spend this amount of time on my faith. I'm going to spend this amount of time studying time and relativity in order to maximize my human experience. And when we can look at life by giving it meaning and aligning the behaviors with the meaning that we give it, we now live our lives in a divine direction. All the detours, like losing everything, become divine, protecting us, promoting us, perfecting us. And we have a glorious gift called patience to live in divine time, where we don't attach our emotions to an outcome and say, we'll be happy when, and we will be rich when, or this will happen when.
Yeah. And the idea of making the most meaning out of your life seems to be really intricately tied to the idea of having fun, which is part of your mission. How does fun compound positive outcomes?
You know what happens when we use the word fun or happy or joy? People have their own derivatives of it, and they immediately try to separate themselves from it. They'll tell me, what do you mean you want to make over a billion people happy? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, joy is much better than happiness. I'm like, okay, then use that word. So for me, happiness is derived by enjoying our behavior.
Mm.
And that's where meaning allows us to have fun, is when if you enjoy a behavior, we categorize it or define it as fun. And so what I try to do is allow people to enjoy first consistency, because human nature, and it's counterintuitive, but human nature doesn't like consistent.
Mm.
That's why the simple things to do are simple not to do. It's not because they're not simple, it's because you need to do them consistently. Like, for example, say thank you takes 0.1 seconds and it has the most impact on anything in your life. But most people will forget to say thank you by tonight, by tomorrow morning. Another half of us, within 3 days, almost all of us, even though it takes 0.1 seconds, and it's free, by the way, Mitzi, it's free.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yet people will forget. So what I try to do is to allow people to understand the past and align the meaning of the successes, failures, mistakes, void shortages, obstacles, defining moments, historical relevances, even of our past, align the meaning of those to where you want to be or better. And now we can enjoy the pursuit of where we want to be or better, because enjoyment comes from pursuing. It doesn't come from reaching our outcomes. And there's many studies on this. You can look biochemically that dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins are not released when you achieve something. It's released when you're pursuing it. And the more you enjoy the pursuit, the more you'll be released this biochemical doggy biscuit that God is giving you, saying, keep up the good behavior, doggy. This is going to make, and I'm going to make you happy with these great ingredients that I'm going to give you in your doggy biscuit of happiness.
It's a beautiful thing to reframe fun as enjoyment, because people think fun has to be this like maximized, crazy, exciting experience. And that's not really what fun is.
It's so true. In fact, my wife and I, we were visiting a friend, and we had to take trains, planes, and automobiles to get to our friend, who is we haven't seen in a while, and she's healing from a disease. And so we looked at it, and they were so grateful that we made the journey to go planes, trains, a ferry as well. And it was a lot of travel. And my wife and I, we really enjoyed the travel. We
Yeah.
enjoyed the journey. We enjoyed the trip, and just as much as we enjoyed spending time with our friends. And a lot of people, they don't. They can't and they won't, because they're not participating in a perception that will allow themselves to do so. We took intentionality in our drive. We took intentionality in our flight. We took intentionality in the timing so that we could have a nice meal at the airport together. And what's the difference whether you're in Positano on the cliff having seafood or at the Seattle airport having seafood? It's how you enjoy it. And I think people miss out on all that they're given in life. They just think that you give and you receive, and they forget about all that we're given and all that we ask for, pray for.
Yeah, it's the verb, it's the act of giving, the act of receiving, the action. And I love what you just said, participating in your perception. Oh my gosh, taking agency.
Yeah. And that's part of accountability. So many people, they simplify accountability into, what did I do to be responsible for this? And what am I supposed to learn from it? Yes, definitely ask yourself that question. And then the more enlightened will use the laws of attraction, and they'll say, what did I do to attract this to myself? And what am I going to learn from it? But the true lesson lies within, what am I doing to participate in this perception of this? Regardless if I'm responsible or attracted it, how am I participating in it, and what am I supposed to learn from it, from the clues, the patterns, and the choices that I make in order to expand, grow, and accelerate my divine direction?
Yeah, because your perception is a choice.
Yeah, struggle's a choice. Pain's not. Pain's not a choice. You slam your finger cancel into a hammer, the pain is not going to be the choice. It's going to happen, but
Yeah.
the struggle's a choice.
That's right. That's right. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about Napoleon Hill, because you've just been named a major part of this organization. And we all know the book, Think and Grow Rich. Okay. You have had the privilege of experiencing that, breaking through that invisible barrier, which I think so many people have trouble getting to, that getting rich. But I know a lot of people who have a lot of money and think nothing about the idea of losing it. They don't fear that because they know how to do it. They know they can do it again. So what do you say to people about that, quote, invisible barrier to getting rich? And how can you overcome that mindset?
What's a thermostat? And so we have to analyze where we set our thermostat and how that thermostat is set. So we need to learn or be more interested in not only our genetic inheritance, which is something that we need to understand in order to facilitate having a higher thermostat, a higher temperature or awareness or whatever it is you want to facilitate with that thermostat. And then two, energetic inheritance that is part of our mind and our body and our soul, and the behaviors that we have in order to facilitate elevating the thermostat to a higher level of awareness or enlightenment or a higher temperature or frequency, depending on your vernacular and perception of that. And as the chairman of Napoleon Hill Institute, in not only Think and Grow Rich, but outwitting the devil,
Yep.
the laws of success, the how to sell through life. And he actually has a manuscript for a corporate operating system. So it's a higher level EOS system that just hasn't been exposed to the public. It all is derived to elevate the thermostat, to, as you said, break through. I like the word, and I'm very particular in the words I use, and also
Yes.
allowing people to use their own, and that's where they get their meaning. But for me, expansion. So if I live in a world that's an infinite, abundant system of everything for everyone with an almighty, all-powerful, omniscient source of energy, whatever you define that as, in a system unified with intention, then I'm pursuing my potential by expanding the skills, the knowledge, the lessons of what and who, and my desire in an infinite universe. And so for me, this idea of expansion of thermostat, of expansion of these limitations that you talked about, but if we're not cognizant of them, you'll reset back to the same temperature. And so even if you have the confidence and you were born genetically and energetically like me with this great innate ability to make money, it's just like some people are great athletes. That's just something I was born with genetically and energetically. I still had a thermostat. So when I reached over $100 million of net worth, my thermostat reset to the energetic and genetic limitations, even though my skill sets allow me to, because I was a great salesperson, to make so much money and a decent business person. I had to do the majority of my work through my studies of Napoleon Hill's content and those that he studied, which is why I love Napoleon Hill and why I've mirrored my career in the digital format to not only have my own wisdom that I share, but I expose and derive the people that I learned it from so that they can interpret what I'm saying in their own way and use their own vernacular and their own meaning in order to what? Shift or expand their thermostat so that they can expand in the direction they want to be in. Because there's a huge limitation in this thermostat idea of the difference between I am and this is what I want people to think I am. And this is a big problem because our thermostat's set to who I am, not to what I want people to think I am. And so when we can figure out what we're doing to interfere with I am, we're actually accessing more of our potential.
And also, what do I think? Who do I think I am?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you nailed it.
How would you like to get the best text of your life? This is your sign that it's time to add something powerful to your morning routine that sets you up for success and reminds you that you are worthy and makes you unstoppable. It's a motivational text message from me, a real human. I am Mitzi Campbell, a mindset specialist, and I know that it is possible for you to live the life of your dreams. My morning motivational text messages help you up-level your mindset, your happiness, and your success. Sign up for a 2-week free trial at yourpositivemoment.com and change your life Today, join the movement so we can all thrive together. yourpositivemoment.com. You talked about words just a second ago, and I've noticed, because I've been watching your live performances, your trainings, and you have this really cool way of using words. It's almost like you go to another place, or you're almost channeling something beyond you. The words that come through you, they often rhyme and sound almost like musical, melodic. How can we tap into that ourselves and allow that to come through us the way you do when you're training?
First, practice, right? So it is channeling, by the way. And one of the other reasons I love Napoleon Hill is, if you've ever read Outwitting the Devil, there's no doubt that he channeled that information because he was 100 years into the future, and which is an aspect or an understanding of channeling. So many people call me the wisdom rapper because there's an alliteration, a rhyming, a melodic sense when I channel. And a lot of people have noticed that. And I love it. John Asseroff, Jack Canfield, Les Brown have all teased me about being this rapper of sorts. And so the only way that it happens is in whatever you channel, because not everyone will be able to channel alliteration, melodic rapping of poetic, whatever happens.
I know, it's so cool.
It's fun, but you can channel your source. I believe everything happens from practicing. And what I would like people to practice is, what are you doing to interfere with that? And because look, it's like energy. People, I'm 57 years old. Very few people can keep up with me energetically. That's just something at 25, when I was in extremely good shape physically and young, you would think that I would have more energy at 25 than I do at 57. I will tell you this, knowing myself, there's not a chance that my 25-year-old self would be able to keep up with my 57-year-old self. And the reason is that we're all connected to an all-powerful energy, an omniscient energy. And so under the concept that we have a unified, abundant, infinite system that we belong to, wouldn't it stand reason, logically, that the people that interfere less with that energy would have more energy? Not people that are in better shape. People that are in better shape can handle more energy, but if they're interfering with it, they're not using their physical capacity to its fullest. So if I would have learned this when I was 25 and had the same paradigm shift of I'm trying to minimize the interference of this omniscient, all-powerful energy, my body would have been able to handle more energy than my body can handle today, because I'm limited by the cellular structure that I have. That's why if you go to a Tony Robbins workshop or Dr. Joe, most people that participate in those unbelievable experiences, they come back sore, sick, depressed. It's because their cellular structure hasn't been exposed to that type of energy. Now, although physically I can't do as many push-ups or run as fast or bench press as much weight, my cellular structure, because of the consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential, my cellular structure can handle more energy than I could at 25, but I've been in the practice of that. So channeling, power, energy, wisdom, it's a practice, but it's a paradigm practice that what am I doing to interfere with it is what I'm practicing, not actually some sort of free will to go get it.
Yeah, but it requires a certain amount of certainty and trust that there's something that exists beyond the reality of what we can measure here.
Yeah, there is my faith. And I simplified it just to that I believe, I don't care what religion you are, philosophies, theories, or spirituality that you follow, good for you. I believe, and this is David Meltzer's belief, and it sounds like, Vincey, you believe it as well, that you must believe in something bigger than you that loves you, protects you, promotes you, and perfects you more than your mom. And otherwise, you're, unless someone can prove me differently, I can't think of something better. I am such a best option human person, meaning the things that I can't prove, my faith lies in, if the evidence is not there or the evidence is contrary to my belief, I believe that there's something bigger than me that protects me, promotes me, loves and perfects me, which means I just don't understand why there's no evidence or the evidence is contrary to where I want to be. So I continue out of the best option to believe that I'm going to do my best to get to where I want to be or better, and learn from the evidence that isn't there or the evidence that's contrary to where I want to be.
Yeah, but they're beginning to prove this now. So we don't have to be the scientists who prove it. There are people out there working on that. We just have
Yeah.
to believe it.
Yeah. And it's like past life. Here's another fun one. Past people like, how can you believe that there's millions of lifetimes, Dave Meltzer? I said, because nobody's proved it. And so if I have I love life and I love lifetimes. So if you can't prove there's only one of them, then I'm going to take the best option of belief that says, okay, I have a choice. This is my only life, but I love life. Or I can say there's millions of lifetimes. So unless someone can prove it differently, why would I choose to be punished and say there's only one lifetime when I take the positive and say, man, there's millions of lifetimes? Or of course I'm protected, promoted, loved, and perfected, because nobody can prove differently. Why would you choose, if you have an option, why would you choose the lesser of your two options aligned with where you want to be or better? Doesn't make sense.
Just what you said earlier, you have the control, you have the power to control your perception.
Yeah.
You have the choice.
Every time. The meaning, your perception and the meaning you give everything, you give meaning to everything. You give meaning to everything. Take that and live your life in that direction.
Oh my gosh, so true. Because this is the Blessings podcast, I have to ask you, what do you think is the biggest lesson that you have learned in your life?
You're either humble or you're about to be. And it happened when I lost everything. I had to tell my mom that I lost everything, including her home. She had to move. And the only reason that I wanted to be rich was to buy my mom a house and a car to take care of my mom. And when I had to tell her, I broke down in tears, and I felt always that I was superior to my mom, that I understood more than her. She was a second grade teacher that worked two jobs. I was extremely grateful. I'm a 57-year-old mama boy. But at that time, I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, why am I being punished? I'm so sorry. I don't believe in God. Why would God do this to me? But let alone, why would he do it to you? And my mom smirked. And she looked at me and she said, Son, you believe in God. You just believe in the wrong God. And that's when I realized that you're either humble or you're about to be. And that was the lesson that I needed to learn 18 years ago that has led me to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of my potential. And I am so grateful to be born with the mother that I had to teach me not only that, but many other terrific lessons about gratitude and empathy and accountability and inspiration in my life that has allowed me to help other people learn the same.
That is so beautiful. And you don't even know this, but is your mom still around?
Yes.
Okay. My mom passed, and her birthday just came. I'm actually going to tear up. She just passed. She passed in 2001. Her birthday was January 25th, and she would have been 80 years old. And I can't believe that you are bringing up mom, mother, and talking about this story. I feel like something really miraculous kind of just happened there. And talking about that, it gave me the goosebumps. And I feel like you just brought that through yourself to me.
Bless and a
Yeah,
blessing.
beautiful.
And there's no accidents, only
No.
coincidences. So we are going to live a beautiful journey helping one another and helping other people. And I look forward. Please, I want to offer everyone in your community the 5 daily practices that we talked about in my book. I will sign it. I will send it to you. I'll pay for shipping and the book. I'm on a mission to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. And it's a great framework to help people with principles and key elements in order to facilitate the behaviors and make them your own. You don't go and do what I do what's right for you, because you are participating in your perception and you give meaning to what I've written. But I'd love to share that with everyone. David at D Meltzer, please post it in the notes, and we'll do more together. Thank you for having me. This has been an unbelievable opportunity.
Thank you, David. I'm very grateful.
Hey, everybody still listening. will you go give a 5-star review to this podcast? Mitzi puts in so much effort and so much love into this. She's brilliant. She deserves it. So I am going to go right now. By the way, by the time you hear this and you go give your 5-star review, you should be able to go find my 5-star review of this podcast. But I just want to thank you for what you're doing.